Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We've got to talk about what happened in September for Palantir because it was pretty cool what happened in September. So let's go to it right here. This is a list that got compiled by someone on Twitter, and I posted it on the Palantir Daily account at ChrisK178. You can see it right here. They compiled it. The total value of contracts that Palantir got in September was $712 million. I mean, I think this is one of the biggest months, at least as a public company, that Palantir has had in a very, very long time. So if we go down on the bottom, we see September 14th, contract with the U.S. Department of Treasury Internal Revenue Service worth $8.27 million. This is the only private deal they got. Contract with Hyundai Heavy Industries, an extension of $25 million over 5 years. The rest of these are public, meaning governmental contracts, but this was a private contract. Then 924, contract with the U.S. Department of Agriculture for COTS software engineering, $3 million. Contract with the U.S. Department of Health, $16.9 million. Contract with U.S. Department of Homeland Security, $96 million for 5 years. Contract with the U.S. National Institutes of Health, $65 million, 3 years. Contract with the new U.S. National Institutes of Health for NCI support, $8 million. Contract with the U.S. National Institutes of Health for additional support, $470,000. Another U.S. National Institute of Health, $2.5 million. U.S. Department of Health and Services, $4.8 million. U.S. Army Research Lab to develop AI ML capabilities, $43 million. Renewal with the U.S. Department of Affairs, $50 million over 3 years. $229 million. This was the biggest one. Project Maven, contract that Google abandoned due to employee protests with the U.S. Army Research Lab. That has to do with like drone research and targeting, things of that nature. $229 million for 1 year. Then contract with the U.S. Army to develop an intelligence app, $60 million over 4 years. This was September 29th. And then $99.62 million, 5.5 years, September 30th. This was the last contract we got with the U.S. Department for the State of Enterprise Data Management to create an enterprise data management platform. So $712 million, and it really started in the last week of September. I mean, you got 9/14, you got a contract 9/20, then 9/24, that last week, 9/24 to 9/30, those 6 days, they made about $680 million. Now, couple of caveats to this. I believe they have performance obligations, so these are up to, which means they have to perform to be able to get these contracts. Some of these span over years, so obviously they're not going to recognize, like $96 million in Q3 because they have it over 5 years, so it's going to be amortized. And then you've got Project Maven, $229 million. We don't know if they're going to get the full 229. That's what it looks like they're going to get. I don't know how they're going to show that they got it over the year. Maybe they put a little bit in each quarter. Maybe they put all of it in one quarter. Ultimately, that's going to be up to them and their accounting to be able to figure out. But goodness, I mean, Cathie Wood sold out of this stock because the government spending was slowing down. And granted, she made the right decision selling when she did at $12. She ended up putting it into Roku and some other stocks that are, I think, performing a little bit worse than Palantir. But Palantir, now it's $7-8. So she made the right decision, right? Doing that sell back in January, February. The logic behind that decision, though, had nothing to do with the sell. Like, the macro sucked, which is why Palantir collapsed, just like everything collapsed, which is why I don't think you can blame it on slowing governmental growth. But if that was the logic and that was the ultimate conclusion for why she had to sell, if you look at these contracts, this is not slowing governmental growth. And granted, the government just passed, the United States government passed $780 billion back in April or May as their official contract, and they have to spend it. They have to spend it every single year. And so now is the time where you get these deals at the bottom half of the end of the year, because now is when these contracts actually need to be given to a lot of people. So if you have a $780 billion defense budget and you've got to start making deals to people, who's going to be the person getting those deals? And that's why I think Karp was kind of angry on the earnings call, because his entire argument was look, we averaged 30% CAGR growth on the government business for the past 10 years, but some years it's up here, some years it's down here. And the reason for that dichotomy is because the governmental business is really hard. Getting these contracts is hard. Landing them is hard. Fully securing and solidifying them is hard. But if you trust us over the next 5 years, we believe that we're going to be able to do what we need to do in the governmental business space. And it seems like, at least in the month of September, that's coming true. I mean, they're getting a lot of these deals. Now, notice this is only the United States. This has nothing to do with Europe. This has nothing to do with the international expansion. This has nothing to do with the fact that there's a war happening in Russia and Ukraine, and the precedent that has sent for countries like Denmark, which is using a lot of Palantir, Lithuania, Poland, just so many different areas around that general region that could be susceptible in the worst case to a Russia invasion. These are countries that are thinking about how to protect their national sovereignty, their privacy, and their agency. And the only way for them to do that is, as Karp said, have a piece of software that makes you become the superpower, even if you don't have the traditional things that a superpower has, like nuclear weapons. And if they can actually execute on that vision and they can deliver that software to the many countries that require and need that software, I believe that's worth a lot more than, you know, what we're saying. We had CodeStrap on the channel a while ago say that NATO's demand for Palantir makes the governmental business already a $100 billion company because of how many times that people are going to be, how much NATO is going to be wanting Palantir and using Palantir, and the precedent is set. China, Taiwan, we have no idea what's going to happen in that. If that happens, there's more governmental spending. So I never betted on Palantir to be a governmental company. Like, I didn't want to buy the company because I was like, oh my gosh, they have so much governmental spending. I bought the company because I was like, if their platform can be used in every vertical that exists from a commercial perspective, they're going to be a very big company. The fact that they're getting $700 million in 1 month off governmental deals, that to me is just a cherry on top, you know, and we're going to see how it plays out. But, you know, right now it's good. Next couple months, maybe we don't get any governmental deals, right? Because the government is up and down. That's why I've never thought government was part of my bull case. But as I've seen Karp talk more about it, and as I've seen the world change more, I'm like, okay, wait a second. Maybe government has the potential to be a major bull case for this company. It's just a question of when it's going to play out and how those deals are going to be structured. Because for the past 5 months, barely any governmental deals. And then boom, 700 million all in 1 month. And so these deals are confirmed. These deals are legit. If you follow the Daily Palantir account on Twitter, you will see the actual screenshots of them getting the exact dollar amounts from the U.S. federal government's website. And you'll be able to see more of what that looks like. So overall, not a bad month for Palantir. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Thanks so much for listening and watching. I'll see you in the next one.